Hello and welcome to another episode of Kitchen Table Podcast. This is our second episode that we are doing, and we are super excited. We've got a special guest on today that we're on with a Zoom call, and we're going to do a little bit of an introduction real quick. So for introductions, it's going to be Flame Natural Decon, and Flame Natural Decon decontamination products developed to remove more toxins and that smoky stench. Ugh. For a second, it didn't sound good coming out, but it's veteran and fire family owned, and it's made in America. So guys, go ahead and check out their Instagram. It's FlameDecon on Instagram, and it looks like they got some pretty nice stuff.
We also have a coupon code,
well,
15% off
there we go.
Kitchen Table, and it'll be in the description.
We'll put that down in the description as well. Also, Salt Leather Company, Ronan is going to be coming home today on Friday, guys.
That's
Hallelujah.
awesome.
This is amazing.
Man, how cool was that the other night?
It was
we
really
got the
cool.
phone call from him.
If you guys didn't know this, but in the first episode, we kind of gave a shout out to Ronan, our little 4-year-old buddy, and he was so happy about that. He gave us a call and he thanked us for it. And
it was amazing.
It was amazing just to see him and to make an impact on somebody else. And that's also, guys, you the viewers, you also made an impact as well, because showing him more love. I mean, he's just a kid. His dad's a fireman out there in Rocky Mountains, and he's just, for him to receive love from everybody, man, it's awesome. And we really appreciate it.
They still have the GoFundMe up too. We're up to almost $12,000 for him. Awesome. That's great. That'll be in the description also. So still keep that family in your prayers, guys. Reach out to them. Just tell them that you're cheering for them, rooting for them. So also, we're going to be bringing in our guest. Our guest today is this very special guest. We've been talking a little too much in the beginning of the podcast. Great.
And we were getting really into deep discussion, and I'm sorry I had to end it, but he was on a roll. So we're going to get back into it. And it is Black Smoke Sticker Company, and his name is Brendan. So guys, just go ahead and just welcome Brendan. How you doing, bud?
Doing good, guys. How are you?
Doing good, man.
Good. So for the discussion that we were talking about earlier, tell us a little bit about your company and tell us why you are the best at stickers.
No, I'm not the best at stickers by any means, man.
I was trying.
But I appreciate you guys. No, so back in August, I got I guess do a little shout out for the guy's name is Notorious. He's got he's got stickers. He kind of does the same thing I do, but he had one of my buddies at the firehouse had like a Star Wars style firefighter sticker on his helmet. I was like, dude, that's pretty slick. I like that. Because where'd you get it? He goes, oh, this guy on Instagram. So I went on there, and he had a Tupac, and he had with a firefighter helmet, and Biggie Smalls with a firefighter helmet. I'm like, you know what? That's pretty cool. I was like, I've made memes and like a couple like small things online, like on my phone, just kind of joking around. I was like, I could probably make something similar to that. So I did it, and I kind of messed around with it, and magically, a couple months later, here I'm talking to you guys. I really enjoyed doing it. People seem to enjoy the stickers. To getting them, like I said, I wouldn't say I'm the best by any means, but I listen to what people want, and I mean, I try to keep my messages open, and comments. I try to keep real close eye on them. And someone says, hey, put Steve Irwin with the firefighter helmet. If I got some time, I'll go in there, find a good picture, and cut and splice and post up and send it to them. And I mean, it blows people's minds. Like I said, with your guys, your logo, you're like, hey, we want this. And I'm like, all right, give me like 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, and I've done.
It was insane.
Yeah,
I've done thousands of stickers, and designs, and I haven't even posted, half of the stuff that I had, as far as finding edits and stuff like that. And, it's still a continual process, but, yeah, I mean, so that's me. I mean, I'm just I'm a full-time firefighter paramedic. I do this kind of on the side, and like I said, I don't think I'm the best stickers by any means, but, if anybody ever really wants a certain kind of sticker, just let me know.
That's awesome, man. We'll be posting your Instagram URL and your link. It's not the URL for Instagram. We'll be copying your link and then putting it in our description, so that way if people want to find you, they go ahead, just click inside of that. Okay. And what state are you in?
Missouri.
Missouri. Awesome, man. Well, so you are also involved with Major Corey Britt with a lot of stuff that I see on your Instagram. You are really fighting for his cause, and you're getting guys signing petitions. So you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Cool. So we'll start with, I guess we'll start with this story briefly. I don't know, for anybody who hasn't heard, long story short, Major Corey Britt was on scene of a 3-year-old who had burns, significant burns, on Christmas Eve. Waited over 24 minutes for a private ambulance company to show up. Major Corey Britt decided, you know what? He went over the radio, asked, hey, where's my ambulance at? And they said, you know, hey, they're almost there. And almost there is great, you know, when it comes to certain things, but when it comes to looking at a burned child and a mother crying and a father, you know, in shock, sitting there looking at you as, you know, a paid department saying, hey, you know, do something for my family. You know, he did what I would like to think any of us would do. Decided to take the child in the fire truck, which is obviously against protocols. It goes against every protocol. You know, I don't think you're going to find a department in the world that says that that's okay. But I also don't think you're going to find a department in the world that, if they were put in that situation, you know, waiting for an ambulance to not do the same. And I would challenge any city official, executive, private ambulance company to put themselves in the shoes of the family, to where if you were waiting that long for an ambulance, that you wouldn't, you know, have the firefighter, you know, grabbing him by his ear, pulling him to the truck, saying, "Hey, we're going to go."
Right.
So, long story short, he did that, took care of the family, took care of what he had to do, and ended up getting a huge slap on the wrist. The complaint came from EMSA, I believe. It's like it's the private ambulance company that works in Oklahoma City, that works side by side with the fire department out there. They are the ones that, from what I understand, made the complaint saying, "Hey, you know, this guy did this," and you know, I was a little shocked that it kind of blew up to the story that it did. You know, I was just scrolling on Instagram and I saw somebody, you know, posted the news article, and can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you, bud.
Yeah, we got these Apple AirPods. You know, they're great. They're expensive.
That's the problem. It's an Apple product. You need a Google.
That was a good impression.
So anyway, I don't know why I did a Donald Trump impression.
Geez. So he, like I said, the ambulance company made a complaint, and the department, you know, chief came on there, you know, said, "Hey, this isn't what we're supposed to do, X, Y, and Z." And you know, you gotta see it from the point of view of the chief. You know, there's a public issue, you got to save face, but there's also a certain aspect to where it's like, hey, you know, how much of this needs to be public and not, you know. And like I said, I'm not the chief. I have no idea. I know if I was the chief in that situation, I would, and the news came to ask me, I was always told, if the news sees you, you know, look away. If you ever got caught, this was the rule back when I used to work in a certain other department. If your face was on the news, you owe the entire bar a round of shots, because that was a big no-no. You don't do it, you're not, you know, they would call you a hero and they would destroy you. a lot of so my thing is, if I was a chief in that situation, if I didn't know the information, or even if I did, I would say, hey, you know, this is what happened. You know, keep it super, super black and white. You know, this is what happened, and we're dealing with it. We will handle it. It's our department. We'll handle it. And I've watched the interview with I think it's Chief Kelly a couple of times, and I'm trying to like see it from his point of view. I'm trying to see it, but the way he worded it, and I should have written it down, but just, you know, we don't do this. We're trained to deal with these emergencies. That's what he said. We're trained to deal with these emergencies. And I'm like, that's great. I get it. We definitely have training, but I would love to sit down in the training that, you know, says you sit there for 25 minutes for an ambulance to show up. You got a kid, you know, with second-degree burns or crying. You could have been to the hospital because you have 4 wheels and, you know, 4 wheels, and you're willing to go to the hospital 7 minutes ago. I would love to see what training he's talking about when it comes to that. That's besides the point. It just seems that they almost kind of, they had to find a name to kind of drag through the mud, I guess. And that rubbed me wrong, because I've been in situations before, you know, where no one's perfect. You know, where I did something that wasn't protocol, but it was what the right thing to do in the situation. Pull me in the office, slap on the wrist, you know, write out your documentation, write out your, you know, your incident report, so it's on paper. So if they want to fire you later, no issue, they got it covered. But it's all behind closed doors. it doesn't have to get big. Our profession's not supposed to be in the news for bad things. We're supposed to be in the news for good things, So, I guess I took it a little personally. I've always been a little angsty in my career, not in a way I'm trying to learn to get better about it. I was, you're always trying to fight the good fight. I was trying to go against the man. I guess that's kind of my kind of thing. But I've also been learning to. I've been reading a lot of. I don't know if you guys know who Jocko Willink is. Phenomenal dude.
Yeah, I looked him up after we talked about it.
Oh, I love.
Got all of his books. Got them all earmarked. Read a lot of it. Extreme Ownership, Dichotomy Leadership, and reading a lot of that to try to get a better grasp on. And it's great for anybody in this field of service to read those books. But try to be less angsty and look at it for more of a broad, less emotional aspect. So I'm trying to get better with that. But I saw what happened. And I'm like, you know what? That doesn't really sit well with me. So, I'm a whiz when it comes to making designs. I know that's a little cocky, but I was like, hey, I can make something similar to and ironically, you guys know Danny would go those stickers.
Oh yeah.
So Notorious, the guy that made the Tupac stickers, life coming full circle. He's the one that made the Danny would go stickers, and were super huge. Got a lot of support, from for him, to where he's still. I actually talked to Danny on on Instagram, and I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. He goes, yeah, that's messed up, and like, awesome, So he's still getting support, to this day, for people saying, hey, Danny would go, and it's a big mantra, to do the right thing, to do what the public expects of us, making those grabs when sure he didn't follow protocol, whatever. That's a piece of paper that should or should not, it may sound good in a courtroom or in a book. That's always great, but when it comes to real life stuff, it's different. So my biggest thing is I wanted to reach out to Major Britt and talk to him to kind of get a feel for the situation. And, I talked to him, phenomenal dude. Did what was right, genuinely in his heart of hearts. Spoken to the mother of the child that was burned. Same exact thing. She even commented on the petition I have going, and she's the number one comment on there, saying she fully supports him, and he did. He did the right decision. And I mean, that conversation should stop right there, in my opinion. You have the mother of the child who was burned saying, "Hey, he did the right thing. He should be getting a medal." I mean, if I had it my way, there should be a national Major Corey Britt Day in Oklahoma City, and they should put him on put him in a limousine, let him walk around and wave around to everybody, and have people throw him money and candy and thank him for his service. Honestly. But for some reason, we are in a position now to where, circling back to the story, he was demoted from the rank of major, which is a captain for other departments that have captains, kind of that not brass but leadership role. Who he's been in that position for a while now, was demoted and moved engine houses. Which demoted. Okay, I can kind of see where some departments may do that. I mean, I've been in my department. People have messed up. Hey, you did this. We're going to demote you, move you. Earn your way back to your spot. No issue. I can see where that would come from. But the changing of the engine houses was in my opinion, just a little fu with no regard. That was that. We're just gonna pull a little weight, pull our weight just to to shut you up, and that's where rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, all right, cool. That's the way we want to do it. I told Major Britt, I said, we're gonna get you back in the engine house. I don't care what I have to do, whether it's making these stickers or making the T-shirts or getting a petition signed, whether I got to knock on doors. I mean, I don't know what I got to do. But I told him, I said, I'm going to get you back in that engine house, and I'd like to do it before St. Patrick's Day. I think that'd be a good little celebration out there.
That would be great.
No one's perfect. I mean, this profession, as far as the medical side, we're practicing medicine, and firefighting is no, there's no cookie cutter. I mean, you guys know this, I'm assuming. You read the book, you go through the academy, that's great. The moment you get on the streets, they're going to look at you and say, hey, congratulations. Now is when you learn how to really do this job.
Absolutely.
Because there's no book in my medic book that says, waiting 24 minutes for an ambulance, what do? There's no book in my firefighter book that says, the same concept of, don't transport the patient because it goes against policy, and policy is important. I completely get that, because without policy, things get a little wild and a little hairy. I'm sure we all have discipline hearings where, that's the new, black smoke sticker policy. And, black smoke messed up. It's no issue. We fixed it. Here's the new policy. Let's go forward. But, the idea, though, that he was punished for doing something that, I've been doing, we've been doing this for about a month now. Not one person has reached out to me and said, hey, he messed up. He shouldn't have done that. Not one. I got almost 6,000 signatures on my petition. I've had numerous people reach out to me. Citizens of Oklahoma, just random people saying, hey, we think he's a good dude. No relation to the fire service at all. Just members of, people who live in Oklahoma City saying, hey, we want that guy taking care of us.
That's awesome.
So we got that. Let's see. I'm trying to think of something else. Like I said,
how are the stickers and everything selling with?
Doing pretty good. So we're I got stickers, mugs, t-shirts. You guys name it, I could probably figure it out. But stickers are kind of my go-to. It's something small and can provide to it. So we're about $1,500 right now. All money, all proceeds that we get for any of the Corey Care stuff is going directly to the Children's Burn Foundation. Spoken with Major Britt about it. He did not lose any pay, which thank goodness. That would be a different topic. Me and you guys are talking about if that happened. You're affecting the man's livelihood. So, and that's another reason too. It's like, okay, so now they're just kind of, it's not bad enough to where he lost pay. It's just bad enough to where they want to slap on the wrist.
Right.
Circling back, so we're about $1,500, which is awesome. I really appreciate everybody that's gotten it. People have tagged me in pictures of them wearing their shirts, and it's super cool. It's going to a great cause, the National Children's Burn Foundation. They help kids all around the world. Not around the world, I'm assuming in the U.S., but help them with surgeries and all the kinds of stuff. I don't know if you guys ever probably seen burn victims, or I'll never forget my clinical when I was in med school. The burn ward was probably the most what's the word I'm looking for? Most heart-wrenching, like tugging clinical. I think I've ever had. To this day, I remember it. They were doing a debridement, or one of the grafts where they were basically taking off a set of skin and putting on this new set. And they got these people pumped full of so many drugs. Like IV fentanyl, and it doesn't touch their pain. You know what I mean? And they're sitting there, and they're trying to be strong, but they're kind of there are little cries here and there. And they put on the Pandora, they put on music to try to help these people, focus on the music, stay away from this because it's just long and tedious, and God, it was awful. So this foundation helps those kids get the surgeries they need. It gets them the money. If you go on their website, you can donate, obviously, just out of pocket if you want to. But I think like $50 gets a teddy bear. $1,000 does this, $5,000 does, this specific surgery or help with this. So going to a great cause. That was actually Major Corey Britt's idea. He doesn't want money. He doesn't want t-shirts. He doesn't want jack. Literally, I talked to him on the phone. He said, the only thing that I want is to be back in my firehouse. He said, I got you covered. So that was all him, though. He wanted to donate the money to charity. Yeah. So he doesn't want t-shirts or money. So just another example of you got this guy that could be, raking in $1,500, just off of his namesake. And he's saying, hey, I don't want that. I want you guys to give that back to, the person he was trying to help in the first place, a child with a burn who needs surgery,
Incredible.
And so phenomenal dude. We're doing good with the donations still going on. There's coffee mugs, there's whatever you guys need. Like I said, as much as possible. I just want to, like I said, to extend who Major Corey Britt is through these products and through the donations. This is what he wants. This, and I want to reiterate that. He doesn't want money. He doesn't want a T-shirt. He doesn't want the stickers. He doesn't care. he just, that he's a good person. He wants to help people. That's his whole reason why we're in this situation in the first place, is because he saw somebody who was hurting and he said, I'm going to do what I know is right. And to be honest, guys, the details of the situation are pointless at this point. As far as, this time frame, and the ambulance is only, a mile away, or, XYZ. That's, the problem with it is it got to a point where he felt in the position to do what he had to do. And the mother and the family and the child are all extremely grateful. When they hear the name Major Corey Britt, they think, hey, he saved he saved me as if I'm the kid. He saved my daughter if you're the family. And at the end of the day, guys, that's what this service is about.
Absolutely.
I didn't swear an oath to follow policy to a T. I swore an oath to the citizens. I mean, whether you're volunteer, whether you're paid, no matter what it is, your job is to take care of patients. And that's the end of it. That's the end of the conversation. Major Corey Britt had a patient. He took care of the patient the best way that he saw fit, and the family and patient is doing well now. And I mean, that should be the end of the conversation. And that's like I said, that's what kind of rubbed me the wrong way, that this guy did what I hope that if I'm ever in the situation that he was in, I hope that I have the balls to do what he did.
Yeah,
to sit there and say, hey, I'm going to break policy. I'm going to risk my job. I've been doing this job for 26 years. I'm retiring in, this many. I know the policy, and he knows the policy. I'm going to break this policy because I think that this is the right thing to do. I mean, that I wish and I hope that if I'm ever in this situation that I can do what he did. And I'm hoping that the message, the stickers, the kind of mantra, no ambo, no problem. I mean, it's kind of silly. It's quirky. Yeah. But I hope that the stickers carry more weight. I hope the stickers carry more weight than just, a funny quip. I want people to see that sticker and say, like the whole Danny would go. I want people to, when they go to a fire and, it's getting out of control, and hey, there might be a person in there, a young guy coming up that doesn't, maybe not have the nerve, heard about Danny's story, said, hey, that guy's got balls. I'm a firefighter. He was a firefighter. I want to have balls. Go in and make a grab. Right. I don't want them to think about, well, the policy says you have to have, 2 in, 2 out. No, I don't want to think you're not a policy firefighter. You are a firefighter, to take care of your patients. So I'm hoping that the no ambo, no problem thing has the same effect. When somebody sees that sticker, I want you guys to, anybody who has the stickers or T-shirts or whatever, to realize though that it's more than just the quip. It's the idea that you are there to take care of your patients. There's not an ambulance there, no ambo, no problem. I mean, just take care of your patients. Do what you need to do. I'm not saying go out and break policy. I don't want to be that guy, get calls from department saying, hey, Black Smoke told my guys to tell the ambulance crew to F off, and we don't need those guys anymore. Because I mean, I'm on the ambulance. In my department, it's a fire ambulance. You got to build up seniority to get on the fire truck and to get off. So I'm on the ambulance. I know how it works. I know response times. I know all that jazz. And we have a private ambulance company in my area, and I've been kind of on the receiving end of waiting for a private ambulance, and they say, hey, they say that on dispatch says they're on your scene, and I come back over and I say, hey, well, guess what? I'm on the scene and they're not here.
They're not
here. And that's a terrible feeling to have. If you have something like, if stuff's popping off, you know what I mean, and you need another ambulance.
Absolutely.
You have some bad car accident, or you have multiple shootings, and you need to transport somebody. You're sitting there just looking at somebody saying, hey, I'm sorry, we're waiting for this ambulance. That's an awful feeling. And I feel where Major Corey Britt was at in that situation, where you're sitting there waiting for an ambulance. I mean, if you guys got time, just sit here and put a timer on, click start, and go about your business or do what you're doing. Or how about this? Hit start, sit there, wait 24 minutes and watch the clock tick. Just wait. And realize how long that is. That's an episode of that's an episode on TV. That's a 30-minute TV show.
Long time.
That's a Netflix episode. And you got, think about, can you imagine if you have kids, or if you imagine if it was you yourself, if you got burned and you're sitting there waiting for somebody, and you're sitting with these people who you called to help you, and whether it's an ambulance shows up first or a fire truck, and I preach this to students that I have, and I mean I'm still relatively new in the service too, but we have new guys coming after me. We're it. You call 911. There's not somebody after us. There isn't a 911 to where somebody else comes after us if we can't fix it. We are the end all be all, the alpha, the omega, if you will. We are in charge, and people need to take that seriously. And I feel like Major Corey Britt, if anybody takes that oath seriously, it's that man right there.
Absolutely.
Dan, I'm sorry. I went on. I need to take a drink of water.
No, it's good.
No, don't worry about that, bud. Don't worry about that at all. I think that's amazing that the decision that he made was that. And what does it say about his administration? What does that say to them that they're not backing him on the decision that he made? Now, there's multiple angles on taking this. The things that I was thinking of is if I had a son or if I had a daughter. I have nephews and a niece. I have a lot of nephews and a niece. If that was any of my if that was any of my friends' kids, hands down, if I'm waiting for an ambulance already at 24 minutes and they say, "Oh, they'll be there shortly," that's not good enough for me. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to load up my nephew. I'm going to load up my niece. I'm going to load up my friend's son or my friend's daughter. And I'm going to take them in the truck. We are swearing an oath to protect the citizens and property, but to protect the citizens in our own cities. I treat just about every single patient that we have as my own grandmother or as my own sister or as my own brother and mother. And sometimes it means you got to tell them, you got to stop. Like you got to stop talking. You got to calm down, and then talking them through it, helping them out. What's going to help that child the best? Getting them to the hospital as fast as possible. Preferably, yes, by ambulance, preferably. But right now, that's not an option. What's the next best thing? Oh, mom and dad, go ahead and take your own child to the hospital. No, we got a fire truck. We got lights and sirens.
And I hate to cut you off. Okay,
you're good.
Let's play that. Let's play that fiddle. Hey, mom. Sorry, you called 911. We don't have an ambulance. Take him yourself. And all right, cool. They put him in the car. They start driving. Right. You're going back to the firehouse. You're like, man, that was kind of a messed up call. You're getting ready to go get dinner. All of a sudden, engine 34, please respond to a rollover accident. There's an ejected 3-year-old. For some reason, looks like she's got burns on her legs too already. And you go to this accident. Mom's not going to go the speed limit. Mom doesn't have lights and sirens. Mom is going to go 120 miles an hour with her child in the back seat to get her to the hospital. And, you want to talk about mitigating risks as far as, on the fire ground, if the house is a loss, those kinds of things, hit it hard from the yard, those kinds of things. But as far as mitigating risks, that's what people don't realize is afterwards, as far as, getting refusals on calls or, those kinds of things, is people are still going to want to go to the hospital. Right. It's just a matter of how you get them there. Are you going to get them there safely or not? Because that mom was going to go to the hospital regardless. That child needed to be at a hospital. Child needed to see a doctor, needed to get medical treatment. So, what was the other option? One, we're waiting for an ambulance. We waited 24 minutes. That's already too long in my book. Anybody that, in this service knows, the golden rule of trauma is 10 minutes, off and on. This is a trauma. So regardless, there's already outside that window that I'd like to be at. So they waited another, 14 minutes, wasn't there. So your next best option is you have 4 wheels. You're able to go code 3. If someone hits you, in an accident on the way to the hospital, great, you're in a fire truck, you're good to go. But you want mom to not be in a good state of mind, frantically upset, driving a $120, because you think mom's going to stop at a stoplight? You think mom's turning on Pandora, saying, "Hey, honey, you want to listen to Lion King, or do you want to listen to Kids Bop?" To get to the hospital. Oh, okay. Can we stop at McDonald's? Yeah, I want a toy. That's not going to happen. Mom's doing a $120.
The toy make you feel better.
She's driving a $120 to get to the hospital with that baby, and that's the other side that people don't realize, that how much benefit it came from what he did versus the risk versus reward. I mean, save a lot or risk a lot, save a lot, risk a little, save a little. that kind of aspect of, hey, just throw her in the fire truck and just rock and roll and get where you need to get to. Take your lashes and be about it. And that's how, a lot of departments I feel like should be. I mean, like I mentioned to you guys, I've messed up before, got a slap on the wrist and I got pulled into the office. I wrote my report and I'm sitting there thinking, man, I'm going to get fired. I violated policy. I did something I wasn't supposed to. My boss pulls me aside real stern and looks at me and says, hey, don't let this happen again. I say, am I fired? They go, no. And they start laughing. They go, we've all done stupid stuff. Just we don't get caught, when it comes to it. But, at the end of the day, if you're doing what's right for your patients, that's the end of the conversation. Now, if you're being malicious, if you're getting an AMA on a 3-year-old burn victim and saying, drive yourself, mom, or, hey, we'll wait for the, ambulance to show up. Think about how that holds up in court, versus, hey, we took her in the fire truck. We're sorry. We had CPALs. We did what we had to do, X, Y, and Z. But think about it, you're in court 3 years down the road. Major Corey Britt, it says here you waited 24 minutes for ambulance to show up and you didn't just take him yourself. And, the mom's pissed off at you. The dad's pissed off at you. The, 3-year-old who is now, let's say 6 years old, has permanent, nerve damage or whatever happened, right? And can't walk right now. She's in the courtroom looking at you like you just let me sit there. Think about how he sleeps at night after that kind of conversation, Yeah. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm just rambling, but this is what my brain goes to these kinds of things to where, I want people to realize, one, especially if they're outside of the service, if anybody questions what he did, put yourself in the shoes of him, and then put your shoes in the self of the parent. And if you would want anything done differently, please, I mean, my Instagram's open. Send me a direct message. Like, we will have the conversation. Hell, you could probably call Major Corey Britt yourself and tell him your conversation if you wanted to, and explain to him what's going on. And nobody can make the decision except for the person that's on the scene, which was him. So, I figured we were going to get into this conversation hot and heavy, but like I said,
and I think kind of like what you just said too is, you just told people they're more than welcome to have a conversation with you. Like, if you're going to do that, let's have a conversation. Let's not sit here and, you're an idiot for saying that and thinking that way. Let's have a legit conversation, and maybe we can get a different point of view. Yeah. I'm probably not going to agree with it, but
there's probably going to be some people out there that will have some good point of views to talk about with him driving it in the fire truck. Perfectly fine. Oh, it's not as sanitary as it would be in an ambulance. Fine. You haven't really been in a medic.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some things that they're going to say that are going to make sense logically, but then the medic wasn't there. So what do you suggest? Do you want that child to be laying on the ground there screaming and I just stand there and just say, hold on 1 second, I got my ready. When are you guys going to be here? Hey, they say they're close. Don't you worry about it. What are you going to do? If I was the father there at that situation, I would be beating some serious ass if nobody was taking my child to the hospital. I really would. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to be some big tough guy. I'm saying that because I care about my child.
It's the truth.
Yeah. I care about my child. If I was a neighbor and saw that, I'm like, the medics should be coming here soon. Where are they at? Then you take them. You're the fire department. You take them.
Yeah.
Like, we have a job to do. Like I said earlier, patient care will be number one. At that point, it's the best thing for this child right now is for them. I got to throw them in the back of my truck. We got to go.
Yeah.
And you guys know what's wild, and I hate to cut you guys off.
No, you're fine.
But why in the world are we having a conversation about what the firefighter did right or wrong, but not one person is saying, "Hey, EMSA, what the hell were you guys doing?
Where the hell were you guys?"
Yeah. What's going on?
I get it, man. I get it. It's a global pandemic, this, that, and the other. I work in a pretty busy area, where I've had, like I said, we've tried to call for private ambulances to show up to our call sometimes. And, if they're, 15, 20 minutes out and I'm at the hospital and I can get back to my call faster, hey, I'll go in service, I'll rock and roll. But hey, if I'm at the hospital, even then the private ambulances I work for, it's roughly 10, 15 minutes tops. You know what I mean? And even then that's uncalled for, when it comes to
that's a long time still.
National response times. I mean, what's it? But 5 minutes or less. I mean, if someone calls 911, if you called 911 when would you expect an ambulance to show up? You know what I mean? And I don't know if anybody's had that situation before where you've had to call 911. I mean, I've had to call 911 before, you know, for family members, and you know, by the time I get off the phone, you know, you hear the sirens and you're like, damn, those guys are close. But you know, and I don't want people to go on EMSA's page and heckle them and make memes and call them and mother F them, you know, because, you know, they are an ambulance company. They, you know, they're trying to do what's best. But I mean, I think if anybody needs to be answering questions and having interviews and being slapped on the wrist, it took those guys 24 minutes. Not him, but you know, like I said, I get people are busy and you know you run a lot of calls, but I mean, even then, I don't think we should be, you know, as much as I love talking to the major, I don't think I would ever want to, you know, I needed to talk to him in the first place. I think, you know, people need to be asking EMSA what's going on, you know, and if there's an issue with that, they need to rectify that, because yeah, you know, things happen in life, but what if that was a cardiac arrest? You know, what if that was a shooting or you know, a STEMI, a heart attack for, you know, and you know, or stroke and all these
well, let's say the owner of EMSA's wife, let's say she was burned and laying there. Oh, well, you know, we're going to go ahead and just wait because your husband's ambulance service that he owns, they'll be about another 20 minutes. It probably changes that.
If 20 minutes happen, if over 20 minutes happens, that needs to be addressed. I mean, that's kind of besides the point. Like I said, I get it. People are busy. These things happen. It's a pandemic. A lot of calls happen. There's only so many ambulances that can happen. I get the system is overwhelmed, but that system needs to be addressed, not the major doing something like we've already discussed. Everybody here, you know, would have done, but just, I mean, I also am a little peeved that the ambulance company is the one that made the complaint about the major. Hey, we didn't do our job, but why the hell did he do our job? You know, and that's the way I read that. I'm like, you guys got to be kidding me. You got some nerve to make the complaint. But like I said, I don't want anybody heckling EMSA or doing anything like that. But I would like, you know, an answer. You know, I would love for them to have a phone call with the mother of the child. You know, hey, just a quick phone call. Where were you guys? My daughter was burned, and let them get a little earful. You know, Major Britt's getting, you know, demoted and, you know, taken away from his firehouse.
Yeah,
nothing has been done about EMSA. I mean, from what I've heard, I haven't heard any, you know, complaints against them.
I haven't seen anything.
You know, you know, I haven't either. It's all been Major Britt, and I guess I'm a little bit responsible for it because I've been, you know, pushing his name out there. I want people to know his name. But you know, at the same time, I mean, can somebody from EMSA reach out? You know, hey, somebody from EMSA, you know, reach out to message me in my direct messages or come on your guys' podcast and say, hey man, this is our problem. We had this, you know, this is our system's overwhelmed. Okay, cool. Let's fix that problem. This is not a problem that we can have. You know, this isn't McDonald's flurry machines down. You know, this isn't hey the liquor store liquor store is out of your favorite smokes, or hey, somebody bought the last lottery ticket. Man, that sucks. That's a problem, right? Those problems can happen. Life and death problems, you can't have a 20-minute variable when it comes to those kinds of things, especially when we practice and preach, you know, taking care of people. So if there's a problem with that system, you know, make it known. You know, go on social media and say, hey, you know, we need more medics to apply. Like, hey, 20 minutes like that. You know, we're so sorry. EMSA should be sticking up for Major Britt and saying, thank you for taking care of a patient.
Absolutely.
Not complaining. I think that something is we're either missing or there's something lost in translation. But you know, if there's a problem with your guys' system, I mean, reach out. Don't complain about a firefighter doing his job. You know, thank him for what he did for the patient, and then reach out to the you know, whoever, you know, funds your guys' taxes or your HR department or your, you know, recruiting department. Get you some ambulances. Get you some people. I mean, there's so many places that donate ambulances, and you know, I'm sure there's a shortage right now as far as you know, there's a surplus of EMTs and paramedics, you know, that I've talked to buddies who work at, you know, when my buddy works at a car shop and he's got his EMT license. I'm like, why don't you apply to EMT? He's like, oh, you know, I can't find a place that's hiring. I'm like, okay, that's a valuable skill. Yeah, fixing cars. Thank you for hooking me up with my oil change. But I would much rather you be on the streets. Helping somebody. So if there's an issue with EMSA, I mean, guys, first off, call Major Britt and tell him thank you. That's first and foremost.
Yeah.
Second off, say, hey, public, we
sign
need
the
help.
petition.
Have EMSA's CEO sign my petition, and then we can get back to business. But I mean, if there's a problem, I don't want people mother effing EMSA about this, but I mean, that needs to be addressed. People are getting so worked up with this, the Major Corey Britt thing, which is obviously I am worked up about it. But let's not forget that the root of this problem was that an ambulance took that long, and that can't happen. So,
with what you're talking about, with EMSA not really as far as we know, not really coming out and explaining what the issue is on why they're wanting to do this, that comes back to communication. That comes back to, if you look at every injury for the workplace for the fire department, always the number one contributor to that injury or that death or whatever has happened is always communication. That's something that if you go and look through any of those, it's always communication. And that's something that we lack a lot, not just in there's some fire departments out. We were listening to me and a couple other guys were listening to Stockton Fire. They've got great communication on their size ups, driving up on scene. They got great communication on that. But with communication on everything that we do basically in life, but also especially in the fire department, there needs to be a lot more communication and explaining of reasons why we do things. I think it's in the past with just telling somebody it's a generational thing, just telling them the way it goes. And then that's it. It's over. That is completely over. Get rid of that. We're done with it. We're on to explaining why we do it now. Because I know my generation, as we were growing up, I was always asking, but why? But why? Like, it's annoying because then I have to explain yourself. And maybe you don't know fully why either.
Right.
Because then it's embarrassing.
Damn it.
Like, oh my God.
It's calling me out now.
Now I got to pull something out of my ass.
Yeah.
To do. So it comes down to communication. If we can hear the sides from the admin from his department of why they're doing that, is it EMSA?
Yeah, EMSA, I believe.
Okay, so if
EMSA, okay,
why are they doing it? Okay, so why are they doing it? What was their specific reason? Explain to us why you think that's the correct decision. It's something that kind of blows my mind, but to see a lot of guys that are supporting him and even the public that's supporting him, it really warms my heart. I think that's awesome. We've been talking about that topic for a lot. We dug real deep into it. I thought it was awesome. We need to move on to our next topic because I think our next topic is going to be even longer, dude. It's going to be great. No, I think this is a great discussion. I just want to make sure that we get into our next topic because I know our next topic is going to dive into more deeper stuff, especially with like first arriving apparatus on scene and also some important decisions to make then for timely manner of getting into that house first in. So there was a post that you sent out. Correct. You sent out the post. I'm not very on social media.
Well, our producer Jacob actually came up with this topic.
Yes, producer.
So I've reached out to a few officers that I respect and wanted their opinion on it. And Brendan, you and I hit on this a little bit last night too. Was do you mask up in the truck or do you mask up at the door? So I guess Matt, you wanna hit it off and
sure. So like he said, we're calling him our producer Jacob because he
works for swag.
Yeah, he works for swag. We give him free stuff. He comes up with some amazing ideas and thought-provoking discussions, and he does a great job. So we talk to him every day, all the time. Anyways, if anybody else has any ideas of what else we could talk about, discussion topics, please let us know and we'll talk about them. So masking up in the truck or masking up at the door. People are going to be saying what you mask up at the door no matter what. You mask up in the truck every time. From my opinion, now let's explain this to the newer guys that have no idea what we're talking about. We get a call for a fire. Driving down the road, you see a column of smoke. Yes, it's going to be a fire. Black, thick smoke. You're pulling up on scene. Do you put your mask on in the truck if as a backstepper? Now for the officer, we kind of discussed that. Even for the officers, it just, comment on what you would do. There's some officers out there that there might be a couple that do it. My personal opinion for an officer, I wouldn't do it if I was an officer. I'm not though. So as a backstepper, would you put your mask on as soon as you get out of the truck? You're ready to go. You grab that line, you're looking around, you're getting yourself a size up of the house, and then you're going up to the door. You check the door. Everyone knows what else to do. Or do you wait to put your mask on until you get to the door? So Brandon, we'd like to have you answer that question first, and then we can talk about our decisions afterwards, and then we can talk pros and cons about it. And I'll try to pick devil's advocate on it as well.
Yeah, no issue. So, I'm relatively new to the service. Like I said, I've had a couple, decent amount of fires. Yeah. We fight fires off the ambulance in my area. And I've also had a couple of rotations where I've been backstep, and I can only speak to my experience from what I've seen, what I practiced, and what, my captain, my officers, my senior guys have done. And they are all mask up at the door as your last resort, style tactic. So, they preach, getting bunked out, getting in the truck, getting your radio, make sure your stuff's secure, make sure your hood's on, those mental checks. When you're driving through, you're hearing the radio, you're getting worked up. Sure, it's a worker. Depending on, how fast you are, how much time you have in the truck really to get that mask on. If you got 5-7 minutes to get to where you're getting to, sure. If you got time, maybe throw it on, but I'm usually there pretty fast to be the first driving one. They always preach to me, getting there, having that visibility to be able to look around. Obviously, you have your mask on, you still have visibility, but it does limit your peripheral vision when it comes to certain things. So, as far as limiting that visibility, I feel like I would like to have my mask off just to be able to look around. Putting the mask on, it shouldn't take you more than 10 seconds. I don't know if you guys got a specific time. 10 seconds is pushing, helmet off, hood up, mask on, strap it. I don't think there should be too long. But as far as the other things that you have to worry about when you get on there, you got a force entry. Like I said, we run usually three-man engine crews. They got the engineer doing all of his stuff, getting water pumping. You got the captain, the officer doing a 360, looking around, seeing what we got, letting people know, what we got going on. And then you got the backstep guy, getting off, pulling the line, flicking the line out, getting to the door. Hey, is the door open? You got to crank the door open. You have so much other stuff on your mind. So I feel like you'll obviously want to put your mask on before you get in. But I feel like that's one thing that when you're waiting for your officer to get back to you, he's doing his 360. You have that little time in between then to where crack the door open. If it's already open, great. Sit there. The line's flaked out. Get your mask on. The captain comes and meets you at the door. Go in and do what you got to do. They preach to us only put your mask on when you're getting ready to get into the when you're ready to get after it. And I think it's maybe it's an old school mentality, but a reminder to conserve your air. I was talking to you guys about this through messaging. I've seen departments, some guys hop off the truck stuck in air. I'm looking at these guys like, you guys realize like how much air you have in that tank, and God forbid, things are popping off, and I'm gonna need you to get in there, get somebody else, and you suck through half your air on the way to the call. Like get out of here, with that. So I think a mental thing to remember how important your air is to you, to not mask up until you get to the door. Like I said, obviously you can have your mask on without being on air, but I think the whole idea of putting a mask on says, hey, we are getting into this. Shit is serious. Excuse my language, guys. And, this is, treat this like your lifeline, because it is. So maybe I'm looking too much into it, but that's the way I was raised. That's the way I rock and roll. So I don't know if you want to play devil's advocate.
So on that, you're pulling up to the scene. You guys aren't putting your mask on. We are right behind you. I'm in the second due apparatus. All my guys are masked up, ready to go. We come out as we're walking up. I get a little bit of my 360 going. I come back. You guys are starting to put your mask up. I already got my line out. It's charged. I'm going in. I'm not saying I do either or. I can do both of them. I'm proficient enough to do both of them. I have done both of them before. I have put my mask on inside of the rig, not in the officer's position, but in the back step position. And as I'm walking up, I remember my officer at the time, his name was Steve Dillon. He was telling me, he said, make sure you're looking around, but put your mask on right now because we're going in. I'm like, all right. So I put it on and I'm watching and I'm looking. And that was the training that I had when I was fresh, brand new into the fire service, which that guy is amazing to work with. So I like to choose both of those.
You said last night that we were 50-50 on.
I'm 50-50 on it, man. On it. Like with the stuff that you all said, I completely agree with. I completely agree with all of that. But there's also been times where I've seen other crews #us take the first in line and go like, and there's already, we're second due or third due. We've been third due and just gone ahead and just gone in first because those guys are getting ready. Now that also comes down to training as well. That comes down to being proficient in putting your mask on, putting your Nomex on, if guys use those, and then putting on your helmet and then correctly, not just setting your helmet on and then not being buckled in, because that's okay, if that's what you do, that's what you do. But, they make that strap for a reason. I don't want my helmet to fall off, so I'll just go ahead and strap it up. But that's becoming proficient in your job. If you put your mask on in the truck, that's fine. Be proficient at it. Train extra hard on not trying to have tunnel vision, on just looking straight ahead. You're going to have to look around a little bit more. You're going to have to conserve your breathing because you're going to be fogging up your mask. Jacob had a great idea. Put a little bit of Dawn dish soap inside of your mask. That can decrease fogging. He said that was like a hockey player trick or something.
Yeah, something
race
like
car
that.
trick.
Yeah,
race car driver trick, something like that. Whatever it was, but there's things that you can do to get around that. Forcing a door with a mask on. Yeah, it does suck. But then again, I'll ask you another one. How many times have you forced a door with complete visual aid? You said you're newer to the fire service, so there could be times where you're having to force the door and it's completely dark. Shit, I forgot my flashlight on. Do you got your flash? You don't got your flash? Oh man, well, I guess I gotta take my, you know what I mean? Like we can't force this door because we can't see it. Then it comes down to, we got to train on forcing a door with limited vision. There's been times where we've had to kind of force a door up and it's kind of in the middle of the garage and the living room sticking out, and there's a little bit of smoke right there. You can't really see everything perfectly. If I got my mask on right now, I could just go ahead and just get that door in. Now that comes with the training of the door prop. It comes in with training and knowing how to force a door into it. They can be cumbersome. They can have extra things in the way, but that's also just train on that and get efficient at it. But if you got a crew coming in and ready to go inside right now and being smart, I think it's a good decision as long as you can back it up. If you're going in,
two things. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you go ahead, dude.
So two things. One, if I'm first due and I'm masking up and you come try to take my line, there's going to be some more of the words happening. That's besides the point. Don't touch my line. That's kind of that's a general rule of respect. To hit on what your point though, as far as playing devil's advocate, I think the biggest thing is do not put yourself into a category of one or the other.
Correct.
Train doing both, to where Absolutely. For whatever reason, say all of a sudden, say you are this, train for if you're first due, train for if you're second due. If you're first due, and you and you were taught not to wear your mask until you get there, okay, good, that's no issue. But also, you have to remember, you're not always going to be first due. Sometimes you might be second due, and if you're second due, and you hear on the radio, we got a worker. Hey, there's people hanging out the window. Okay, I'm 7 minutes away. I have a little more time in there. I know that there's victims. I know I'm, for my SOG, second due is going to be, second due is hydrant, third due for us is truck stuff. But say you're third due and your truck operations, your rescues, you're doing those kinds of things. You better have your mask on. I mean, if I can put myself in a situation, you're third due, you hear all this stuff going on, you have a little extra time. You're hopping off the truck with your mask off. You don't have enough time to let that thing fog up, because the first thing you're doing is grabbing a ladder, putting on the side of the building, and getting after what you got to do. Getting in and doing what you have to do. So I think, like, to hit on your guys' point as far as playing devil's advocate, train both. Be good at both. Train putting your mask on. Blindfolded. Train forcing a door with your mask on air blindfolded. Realize how much effort it takes to do that. Know it's uncomfortable to force the door, even if you're not on air. Just have your mask on and you're forcing the door. It's uncomfortable. It's just because something's on your face and you don't like it. It's got a real tight seal to it. But I think, like you said, practice on both, because you're not always going to be first to. You're not always going to be second to. Have a little arsenal in your toolbox, and it kind of ironically hits back on the whole Corey Britt thing. Don't be a robot. When it comes to stuff, robots. You watch Terminator, robots lose in the end, man. Humanity wins. So we gotta make sure you don't put yourself into that position to where you get on scene and you are not ready, because, like I said, we are the last line of defense. Nobody comes after us, so you have to be able to adapt, improvise, and overcome. So, like I said, I think there's a place in the service for everything, for either having your mask on or having not. But like you said, whenever your time comes, make sure you know what you're doing, because you don't want to be the guy at the door with your mask on and you're not trained to do that, and you're fumble with it, and you got somebody screaming at you to get in the house, and vice versa. You got your mask on, and you've sucked through, half your bottle. You crack that door open, all of a sudden your pass alarm's going off because you're sucking all your air down.
Yeah.
Learn to be both. I mean, I think I hate
learn to get both of them done and done proficiently.
I hate to cut that up.
Yeah. So like with guys who, I know I've done this multiple times. I had a guy challenge me. His name was Mike Turner. He challenged me to start practicing and training with putting my mask on properly, and then putting my Nomex on around it and my helmet on and clip it in with my fire gloves on. I couldn't tell you how he embarrassed me, because I was still new to the service, and he embarrassed me with how quickly he got his done. And it wasn't because he's just more talented than me, even though he is. It was also because he's trained on it. He's proficient on it. And to me, I was just like, that sounds kind of dumb. And then after I practiced it, and then we had a real life situation where we did have an actual fire, which is pretty rare. We had an actual fire, and I put my mask on, and I put my Nomex on, and then I had my helmet on, and I already had my gloves on. I was good to go. I didn't have to sit there and mess with a ton of other things, but it comes down to training and getting proficient in what you do and knowing what you do, as well as I just used this little saying the other day at work. I would rather be a jack of all trades than a master of none, or a master of one. I'm sorry, a jack of all trades than a master of one. I'd rather be good at I'd rather be pretty proficient at a lot of things than just a master of one thing. And if that comes down to me just kind of like, Matt's pretty decent at a lot of stuff. Like, yeah, is he great at one thing? No, like he's not great at one thing. He's decent at about everything, which is good. But then that's only from there, it's my decision. Do I want to get better at every single level of the fire service, or do I want to decrease my knowledge, decrease my talent? It comes down to each person individually. But this is really just a discussion to get guys to talk about this.
And that's what we want it to be, is just a discussion. We don't want it to be, people bashing on each other for their decision. I talked with, it was 4 or 5 officers yesterday, and every single officer said that they prefer that their backstepper does not mask up because of tunnel vision, and they want them to, when they step off the truck, they want them to get the total scene, want them to get their own scene size up. And I completely understand all that. But each one of them said they do not fault, they're not against anybody that mass up in the truck. So I respect that. And that's where I want this to be a discussion. This is what this podcast is going to be all about, is discussing. I don't want each other going back and forth, bashing each other. So this is great.
Yeah. My biggest thing, and I know our biggest thing, I'm sure it's yours as well. I don't want other guys beating me into my own district. I don't want other guys beating me. I try to pretend each house we go to is my house. That's my house that's on fire. What am I going to do? I'm going to go put this shit out. I'm going to go put it out. I'm not going to let another crew go put that out, because that's my house.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to do it properly.
That's
I'm going to do it the quickest. I'm going to be doing it proficiently. It's not fun to be beaten into your own district.
No.
Being safe while you're driving there, yes, but we got to put a little pep in our step as well. Getting on the scene, no lollygagging around. Get your hose, get to that door, or get the garage door, front door, window. If we're going to second story, third story, we're going back around to a barn door, or we're going back around to the back door. whichever you're going, get proficient at pulling hose, get proficient by doing it by yourself, get proficient with doing it with another guy, with another backstepper, and prepare yourself for your own personal scene size up. Everybody, this was something I took at a FOSS class, which I highly recommend everybody get at least a FOSS class in. But I took a FOSS class, and it was, the officer does not, and I was new to the fire service as well. The officer is not the only person that does a scene size up. And at first I was like, oh, cool, I get to talk on the radio too. And it was not like that at all. It's every single person on that fire ground does their own scene size up. Though it's not verbal to everybody else, when you get out, even if you're the brand new guy, we need to be training all of our brand new guys as well. So don't be throwing them under the rugs and letting them fail. Just push. We need to motivate these guys. We need to get them, because there's a lot of guys that, when I say we, I mean the fire service, we have a lot of knowledge that we're just letting guys fail for the first year because we want to see how they are. No, you got to get there. You got to train them. You got to kind of give them a little bit of a push to be a good. You gave me a push. You did the same thing for me. You didn't let me fail. You were like, hey, let's go do this. I'm like, all right. That kind of set the pace. Then I'm like, all right, we're training today. We're training. We had Brent Rockwell, when he came in, there was granted some other things that was going on, but we were like, we're training today.
Yeah.
And we would just pick topics, and we'd pick and we'd go. All of a sudden now it's been 4.5 hours, and we discovered some different techniques that we really liked and we switched to. It comes down to training these new guys to think like, hey, you need to be doing your own scene size up. And then what's a scene size up? Explaining what it is, what are
you looking for? Yeah.
What are you going to be looking for that? What is something that if you see, what are you going to say? Like, what are you going to tell your officer what you saw? Because I know when I was in the ride out position, I told everybody behind me, and I know I told you, I'm like, if you guys see something, you tell me, because I can't see everything. And I've had officers tell me that as well. And in that FOSS class, they said, everybody do their own scene size up. And I tell you what, that really does help out. And your crew will start to grow and get a lot better if everyone is slowing down for a second and taking a good look at what they've got, and then listening to their officer and what decision they're making, and then they'll be most likely on the same page.
Right.
If a good aggressive officer.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
I wanted to make sure you're still there, to be honest.
Yeah. I was just kind of, taking in what you were saying as far as, not running on scene. And I was thinking, you don't run on scene, but, the house is rocking, and there's a brisk pace you set your tone for. So
that was something as well, didn't we?
Running on the fire ground.
Running on the fire ground.
Yeah.
It's I think there's a time and place.
There's
a time and place for running.
Like I said, it's a lot of times you're going to have hose everywhere. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to want to be running around there. It's all about
moving with purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's something you're excited anyways.
Right.
Moving with a purpose. So
I think it's easier for guys to lose themselves in the adrenaline and start moving and grooving, and you forget your tool on the truck because you're like, man, the house is rocking. I gotta get the line. You forget your Halligan on the truck. All of a sudden, you're at the front door. Cool, you're ready to rock and roll. It's locked. Man, if I only had a thing to open this door to get into this fire, but no, I forgot. So I think guys, train yourselves to remember that it's easier to get excited. It's harder to stay disciplined when it comes to those things, and to take a breath. And I feel like if you take that 1 second, 2 seconds to take a big deep breath and take your time, it'll alleviate any other issues down the road. I mean, I know it's perfect, things are going to happen, but I just remember it's easier to get excited. It's harder to slow your roll, and slowing your roll is what's more important.
Always taking that couple second breather as you're about to open that door to get out of that truck, to kind of just calm your nerves. For every guy. I mean, I know I've done it in the ride out officer's position. I know I've done it as the driver. I know I've done it as a backstepper. Take a quick couple seconds, take a big deep breath, and like, I got this. And knowing your job. That's the biggest thing, is training and knowing your job. No question is a stupid question. There have been some stupid questions that I've asked. But the biggest thing is you got to be gracious to these guys that are asking these questions. At least they're wanting to know something. A really good training that a couple of guys brought to me that we started doing for a while. I know when I was in the officer's seat, was we would do it at your old house that you lived over in the Pines.
Oh yeah.
I would ask guys that lived in our district alone. I would say, hey, do you mind if me and the crew would drive by your house? We'd stop and we would pull a line out and get to the front door, and we'd have the driver, time us like your house was on fire. And we would do that. We did it. I couldn't tell you how many times we did that for weeks and weeks. When I was in the officer's position,
go to a house under construction, we would do it.
Go to a house that was on construction, and we go do it. It gets you out of the monotony of doing it at the firehouse. Granted, it might be pretty fun doing it at the firehouse, but that gets boring and gets old because I could do it with my eyes shut.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Every house that we go on is different.
You're changing it up. Absolutely.
You're changing it up. The public is seeing you doing it. Now, granted, you got like
I got phone calls.
You got text and phone calls like, is your house on fire? And then guys went down the road watching, taking pictures. Yeah. And it's just like, no, man, we're just training. But what does that say to the public? What does that say to the public that, oh man, these firefighters are like, the house is probably on fire. They're looking like, oh wait, they're putting it out. Oh, they must be training. Like, that's actually really cool. Like, I would love to see that if my fire department from down the street, they came down, they pulled a line out right to my front door, and I'd just be like, that's awesome. Now I know that they know where my house is at, for one, and two, they've pulled a line out on it. That's something that I think is pretty crucial, and it really helps, especially it kind of breaks up that little bit of awkwardness for that first, or the nervousness for that first time you're working with that crew. Just go ahead and get it over with and go to someone's house and do it.
Yeah.
We did it to my sister's house a few times. My nephews loved it. They'd stand at the door and watch and cheer us on. And it's more motivation to increase your training and to just do the basics. I mean, if you're an engine company, your bread and butter is getting water on the fire, pulling a hand line. Know that hand line. That's some stuff that's pretty specific to
know how to load that hand line.
Know how to load the hand, not just the hand line, maybe a yard lay, and knowing that if all the hose is on the ground and the guy that's driving says all that hose right there goes right here, not argue with him. No, I'm sorry to everybody that was there last night actually. So that's a long story. I could tell you afterwards.
We'll tell you off camera.
I'll tell you off camera. So I think it really comes down to training, to put this conversation back down to an end of where we started it at. It comes down to being proficient on whatever decision that you make. If you want to put your mask on in the truck, as long as your officer's cool with it and you're proficient at it, go ahead and do it. If you're proficient at putting your mask on at the door and your officer's good with it and you're proficient at it, go ahead and do it. That comes down to a lot of things, I believe, in the fire service. You might do something a little bit weird, but if you're proficient at it and you're quick and you're good, I can't argue with you. I can't tell you not to do it because I don't have a better reason for you not to do it.
Right. So
awesome, man.
So Brendan, what else you got? What else you got coming up?
Working on my own podcast. All the cool kids are doing it, as you guys are obviously doing. I'll keep it kind of brief now. Hit on it more on. That's why I started my own Instagram page for it. It's the Goon Shit Only podcast. That's the term as of right now. It's kind of a household name now. People kind of know it. They see the picture. They understand it. So the firefighter in my design, who Goon Shit Only design, his name's Ed Monahan. He's a retired FDNY firefighter from Rescue 4, super cool guy. Somebody commented on the post saying, hey, I know that guy's son. I went to the school with the guy's son. I'm like, okay. So I messaged him. I said, hey, what's that guy's name? What's the guy's son's name? So I messaged the son, and I'm like, hey, my name is Brendan, X, Y, and Z. I'm using your dad's photo. I would like his permission. Obviously, I really respect him, but just trying to be courteous and drop a line and say, hey, I'm using this. I blacked the eyes out, took the logo off so, not to, derail or not to show anybody's, insignia. But, I asked him, and actually Ed reached out to me and said, hey, I love what you're doing. It's an honor. He told me when the fire was, it was the 4th of July, I think he said early 2000s in Brooklyn. It's kind of told me a little bit about the fire. And said, hey, I really like it, but if you could just, send me some of my stuff and send me the bill. And I thought, what a guy, here I am, using this guy's design, this, legend of the service, and he's asking to pay for his own coffee mug with his face on it. So super cool guy. and we've kind of built a relationship from that point on. As far as talking about designs and kind of things, he thinks it's cool what I do. And he asked for a couple, asked for my phone number because he wanted a couple custom things done. So we're sitting there talking on the phone and going back and forth, and we talked a little bit about the design stuff, and then we jumped right into. I mean, he's talking about how to pop a 2-door car. You got somebody crushed. He goes, "They're not going to teach you this in school, but this is how you do it." And started talking about that. Then we went to. He likes cars. He's got a couple Corvettes. Yada yada yada. One of his favorite movies is with the Bullet Mustang. I think his name's Steve McQueen. There's some car chase. It's a famous car chase, and I've never seen it before. He's like, "Hey, you gotta watch this. Go on YouTube and find it." So I'm sitting there looking on my phone. It's like over an hour. I'm thinking, man, this guy really, he's got a lot to talk about. And I asked him, I was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about, writing an autobiography or doing a podcast or anything like that?" I said, "You gotta have so many stories." And he goes, "I've been trying to, but I'm not, I got 30 handwritten pages." And that's where I got to. I'm like, "Hey, technology is great nowadays. Let me help you out." And so I'm setting up a podcast with him, and I pretty much am just going to talk back and forth about, him and his story. Has been in the service, I want to say over 40 years.
Wow.
I mean, 40 years, that's in the FDNY. I mean, you got it. You've seen some stuff. I mean, and my biggest thing is, I mean, I personally, I may be doing it, maybe a little selfish, but I just love hearing these stories. I mean, you hear this guy, just one, it's cool to hear these old school stories, but two, something to bring on to the next generation. Like he told me about popping a 2-door car, where to put the tools at, instead of going for the door, go in through one side and do X, Y, and Z. But anyway, just stuff that would be pertinent and very beneficial. And I think, like I said, I think people really enjoy hearing his story, and he enjoys telling us. I'm like, "Hey, we're gonna hook this up." So look for that. We're gonna on Monday. I'm gonna give him a call. We'll see, just kind of see where it goes. Hopefully, people like it. Yeah, so phenomenal dude, and I hope to get some of his stories out to you guys pretty soon.
That's awesome, man.
That'll be great, bud. You'll have to definitely let us know when you do that. I'd love to listen to it.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I'm sure I get him on your podcast too. He probably wants to come on there.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. I know I would enjoy that. I wouldn't even have to really talk at all. I know I talk a lot. I just sit there and like, "You can go ahead and speak now," and then.
And he's got just like the perfect Brooklyn accent, and he's got all he knows all of his buddies nicknames like Johnny the Can Man Stan, and he just sits there. He whips it out like rapid fire, and you're like, man, it's literally like I'm back in the 1990s on a fire scene watching this guy just tell stories, and the way he tells them just with the accent, and it like puts you back, and you're like, man, this is awesome. And just the amount of experience he had. He sent me a YouTube link. It was like 1977. There was a huge fire, and there's the radio transmission. It's like 45, or it's like 2 of them. It's like 90 minutes long. But he was like, "Yeah, I was on this fire. Go listen to this." And you listen to it, and you're like, "Oh my God, like back in the day, how'd you guys do this?" I mean, people are, going this way, that way, this truck, that truck. And imagine listening to a radio transmission from the 1970s on a 3rd alarm fire. I mean, it's insane. I'll send you guys the link so you guys can.
Yeah, I want to listen to that.
But he was like, "Yeah, I was there," and I'm like, just that alone. I mean, we could probably write a book on that call. You know what I mean? So super excited to have him to get this thing going. I'll have to get you guys in contact with him so you can rock and roll.
That'd be great.
That would be amazing, man. We really appreciate it.
So I got the podcast rocking and rolling. Stickers, I mean, it's 24/7 business, baby. If anybody needs anything, any designs, feel free to reach out to me. I've been trying to, if your department needs something, as far as designs go, as far as t-shirts and hats and all that good jazz. One, I will recommend, if I could do a shout out, Axe Head Threads.
Yep.
You guys know that guy?
Yeah, those are local guys.
What those guys put out is absolute gold. I will never touch what those guys do. Absolute gold myself. Super, super cool guys. But if you need like legitimate department stuff, like, waffle coats and Carhartts and good jazz, go to those guys. But if you want like, maybe your entry level stuff, maybe your tester stuff, give me a shout out. But yeah, man, I thoroughly love just doing, the designs. I've, I don't want to sound cocky and say it's easy to me, but I've done so many that, someone will tell me, hey, I want, the Monopoly guy with a firefighter helmet smoking a cigar, with engine whatever on it or truck whatever. Give me like
be badass.
give me like 10, 15
Can you make
minutes.
that happen?
I can whip it together for you. Man, I can put it on a coffee mug, t-shirt. And like I said, I'm constantly trying to get better and learn like different companies to use and get people shirts and do whatever. But so one, like I said, I love the design side. And the business aspect of it too. I think it's super cool for first responders, firefighters, nurses, whoever, to kind of do a little side hustle. One, because it helps. Obviously, you're making money, and that money is nice. But two, man, people love this stuff. I mean, it helps, like I said, build morale, build the community. As far as if someone likes this or likes that design, just put a smile on somebody's face. That's kind of where this all started from. Is I bought the Tupac and Biggie sticker. I put them on my helmet. I'm like, yeah, that's my helmet now. And I mean, there's a whole long list. You guys have to look up the whole Jocko Willing thing. I'm actually reading his mentor's book. It's called About Face by Colonel David Hackworth. I don't know if you guys know about it, but it's like an 800-page book about he was like in a bunch of different wars. But he speaks a lot about human personality, human psyche, and leadership and pride and those kinds of things. And as far as if you have a unit or a fire department that doesn't really have an identity, that just kind of we're firefighters, we do this X, Y, and Z, but that's it. Okay, it's a job, you get paid, it's no issue. But are you really invested into it? And that's why I feel like a lot of fire departments, you guys will probably know, they got the little logo where it's got a Tasmanian devil holding a pair of jaws, or a crocodile holding a halligan, some kind of fun stuff like that. But that's your guys' identity. You got stickers, patches, t-shirts, you put it on your hat, and guys take a lot of pride in that. You take your job a little more seriously because it means something more to you. And I think that like I said, the whole stickers and patches, and like when I put those stickers on my helmet, I'm like, hey, this is my helmet. Take a little more pride in it, as far as don't forget it on scene, or make sure you put it on, or just makes you a little more prideful of the job. And I think that's huge. And I think that's why people like my stickers and stuff like that. But I mean, you get, I'm gonna say my stickers are the best, but anybody that you can get stickers from and do stuff. But I think what makes me a little special is you'll be hard pressed to find somebody that's messaged me that I haven't responded to them. I mean, it's like a full-time job. I do more sticker stuff than I do actual on-duty firefighter stuff at this point. When I get off work. So if anybody needs anything, if your department's kind of the morale's a little low, or I'm not trying to say I'm going to save the department's morale, but if you think
no, but it does help.
It really helps.
It really does help.
Just bring and put an identity to it, and people take it a little seriously. When the trash is full, okay, if there's no real identity, no real culture to your department, no trash is full, whatever, I don't care. But if there's a little more pride in it, you will psychologically do better. I feel like you'll want to take the trash out. You'll want to do the dishes on calls. You'll want to be, you'll want to watch your times better. You'll want to, do better things. And when the public also sees, like, oh, hey, the firefighters got the, this specific logo. I mean, you build that relationship with your community too, because you can freaking hand out the, stickers, or hand out a T-shirt with the logo on there to some, local kids or whatever you want to do. And you build that camaraderie versus, hey, a firefighter, Iron Cross, hey, we're firefighters. That's cool. But you add that little personalized touch to it. Like I said, I feel like it just brings the service further and makes the camaraderie with the guys at the firehouse, guys or gals, a little bit better. And I feel like it's just overall, it's more than just stickers, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
Absolutely.
Well, awesome.
I love doing it. If anybody needs anything, shoot me a message.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be in contact. Yeah. So we're going to need a couple more.
Well, awesome, Brendan. Thank you so much for coming on, man. Great closing remarks. Anybody who's still listening at this point, which I hope is everybody, please, if you guys are wanting stickers, especially like what he was saying at the entry level, I highly suggest. He's got some great artwork. I love looking at the Instagram. I love looking at the Joker. That's my favorite one.
That Joker one.
The Joker one's
sick.
My favorite. It's awesome. And just give him all your guys' attention, and also just get something from him if you want.
Use that coupon code Kitchen Table, 15% off.
Yeah,
let's
definitely.
go.
So Brendan, don't hang up at this. I'm gonna do a quick close. Don't hang up after this. We'll talk to you afterwards. And I'm just gonna do a quick close real quick. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And when you just subscribe, hit the little bell notification on there. It lets you know whenever we post a new video. But if you guys comment, it really helps out the YouTube algorithm, and then it starts promoting our stuff more, and more people will be able to see it. If you like it, that really helps too. But also share this video with any fire department Facebook page you're on. If you got any other friends that are in the fire service, or your family in the fire service, or anybody who's even not in the fire service, it doesn't matter. Just share this video. That way we can get more people to listen, and we can get more discussion topics kind of going.
Send us in your topic. We have Major Corey Britt next week. So that's going to be awesome. That's going to be exciting. Yeah, can't wait.
Really exciting. So thank you so much, everybody. God bless you, and be safe out there.